All right, everyone. Today we have a little bit of a different structure with the workout. We're calling it Pressed Cafe, which is an awesome place right behind the Burlington Mall. Highly recommend you check it out. We've got 3 rounds today, so not quite as many rounds as we had in the previous workouts, but we've got 1 minute at each movement with no built-in rest. So this is self-prescribed rest. Try to push yourself, try to move as consistently as you can through these rounds with taking as little rest as you can. It's going to get your heart rate up, it's going to get those muscles tired, but you can do it. Let's go. All right, we are starting off everybody's favorite, some burpees. So we're gonna start with your feet underneath your hips. We're gonna reach down with your hands, hop back to the toes, lower your chest to the ground, and then we're coming back up out of that low position, pushing those arms straight and hopping back in towards your hands. So again, this is a long set for burpees. So try to start out if you can hopping back and then hopping back in, but if you need to, you can always step back, and that'll help take some of that jarring tension away and help mitigate some of that higher heart rate. But try to push through this, you can do it, and try to keep that heart rate up nice and high as much as you can. So here Caitlin again is stepping back 1 foot at a time and then hopping in. So that would be the next best option. Step back with each foot, hop back in, or if you need a little bit more of a rest, you can step back, lower down, push up, and then step your feet back in as well. Either way, keep moving nice and smoothly through this minute. All right, we are gonna give you a bit of a chance to catch your breath with some sit-ups. So we're going down to the ground, onto your back. Let's keep those heels as your anchor points so you can extend those legs out a little bit. Either way, we're gonna use those arms to thrust forward up in between those feet and get yourself all the way up with your torso. So we're going full sit up here, control down nice and smoothly, thrust those arms forward, reach it for the feet, and then control back down. As you lower down, think about trying to uncurl vertebrae by vertebrae from the lower part of your back to the upper part of your back. That'll help make sure that we're keeping that lower back nice and flat. And then again, as you get a little more fatigued in this minute, the faster you can thrust your arms forward, the more, a little bit of a boost you're gonna get from that. So that's something you can use to your advantage when you're feeling that fatigue kick in. But again, keep moving through that minute-long set. All right, we're getting yourself back up to your feet, and we're gonna work into some air squats, but we're gonna add a calf raise to this. So it's best if we keep your feet just about hip to shoulder width apart here. We're sending those hips back and down, pushing through those heels out of that low position. And as we get out of that get to the top of that squat, we're gonna go up to the balls of your feet with those heels coming off the ground for a calf raise. So we're working those calves in addition to those quads, hamstrings, and glutes. So really make sure we're forcing those hips back and down as far as you can, ideally trying to get your thighs parallel to the ground. If not, that's okay. You can always set up maybe a couch or an ottoman or something and try to reach that for a reference point. At least try to get as low as you can. Again, a minute is a longer set, but we totally know you can do it. So keep moving, you got this. All right, it is time to get that heart rate up a little more. We're working into some jump rope here. If you don't have a jump rope, you can go right into jumping jacks instead. So if you do have a jump rope, so we're working ourselves nice and light on the balls of the feet. Our arms are kind of relaxed at our sides and just out in front of your hips with your hands. So it's just that nice light grip with the jump rope handle, just that nice twirling flick of the wrist to make sure that we're getting that rope around. Notice she's not jumping very high, so Caitlin's just enough of a jump to get that rope underneath with each one. And the faster you go, the higher we'll get that heart rate. So I recommend trying to keep it going nice and fast. Again, you can slow down in the later rounds if you need to, but try to really make sure we're getting that heart rate high to have that big impact on your metabolism. You've got this. All right, I bet that heart rate is up there, so let's get it back down a little bit. We're working down to the ground again for another set of sit-ups. Again, we're using those heels as your anchor points, and we're getting those arms thrusting forward, so you're reaching forward to touch those feet as your torso comes up into that full sit-up. If you can, make sure again, as you go down, start to lower vertebrae by vertebrae, starting from the lower back to your upper back. That'll help keep that lower back nice and safe, and make sure we're recruiting those upper abdominals as much as we can. Again, long sets here, and we've got many sets of these sit-ups, so the more you can swing those arms forward with more force, the more you're going to give yourself a little extra boost on the way up, and you can work nice and slow on the way back down. So keep it moving, you've got a couple more seconds, you've got this. All right, now that those abs are nice and toasty, let's use those legs again. We're getting into some squat pulses. So we're setting up with those feet about shoulder width apart, just a slight angle out to those toes. And again, we're swinging those hips back and down, trying to get those hips to about parallel to the ground. So we're getting a little 1, 2, 3 pulse at the bottom of that movement before we drive through those heels to get yourself back up to the top. See how Caitlin has her arms stretched out in front? That's just gonna give yourself a little more of a counterbalance to you pushing those hips way back. And that's just gonna help reinforce just how much we want those hips to be pushed back. That's gonna keep the tension out of those knees, keep the tension in those glutes, hamstrings, and quads. You've got this. And I think it's just about time to get that heart rate up again. So let's get down to the ground into a push-up position. So you're gonna set with those hands underneath your shoulders, up on your toes. Before we do anything, tuck your tailbone, and then we're driving those knees quickly up towards your elbows. So we're trying to reach those knees up in between your elbows. Nice quick movement here as we drive one knee up. We quickly switch and bring that other knee forward. Again, trying to move as fast as we can through this. Our objective here is to get that heart rate up nice and high, so just keep on moving. I know you're wishing for some more abs, so let's jump into it. So we're doing some more sit-ups here. So again, setting up with those heels as our anchor points. The more extended out your legs are, the more of a leverage point you're gonna have to help yourself get up into that sit-up position. You can always butterfly your feet if you need to or if you want to, but definitely recommend keeping those heels as your anchor points. Again, as those abs fatigue, use those arms to swing up towards that top sit-up position, nice and controlled on the way down to help make sure we're recruiting those abdominals and uncurling vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep moving through these. And now that we've got those sit-ups done, we are trekking our way over to a wall so we can get into a wall sit. So we're keeping your lower back nice and pressed into that wall. Upper back is on the wall as well. We're walking your feet about a foot, foot and a half in front, and your feet are going to be about shoulder width. We're sinking down to 90 degrees in those knees. So our goal here is to really push through those heels and try as much as you can to pull your toes up while holding that. Again, that's going to keep tension out of the knees. It's going to really burn those quads, but that is what we want. Try to fight through that as much as you can. As you can see, Caitlin here has herself up in that position with your elbows even with your shoulders, and she's got that 90-degree elbow bend to help work on posture as well. So keeping those back of the shoulders pressed firmly against the wall, just working a little bit of a postural analysis there as well, but really focus on those heels down, toes up, so we can really get those quads burning. And so as we wrap up these wall sits, that concludes one round. Fortunately, we only have a total of 3 rounds today. So again, I know it's a little bit of a longer workout and there's no built-in rest, but we know you can really push yourself in this one. A lot of simple movements here. Just try to keep moving as quickly and as consistently as you can through each of those and work nice and tough through that high heart rate and sweat. And when you're done, post a sweaty selfie so we can see all your hard work.